Hold up.
Every day I wake up, wake your ass up.
The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?
Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Jess Hilarious, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Loren LoRosa is here as well. We got a special guest in the building. She's back again. Ladies and gentlemen, Bozoma St. John. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, Boz, how you feeling?
I love being here. I feel great.
You feeling good?
Yeah.
Last time we spoke to you, I know you were. We were talking about you were moving because of the things that happened with your house and the house burned down.
Fire.
So just give us an update of what happened with that.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's been a crazy time. I mean, look, it's like, I think like everybody else, you know, the new year came, it's like, oh, 2025 gonna be my year. Mm-hmm. And then 7 days later, my house burned down in Malibu.
Jesus.
And I was like, oh, okay. You know, and the challenge with the house is that it was really my dream house. I fought hard for that house. Yeah. I was actually just reading something about Harry Belafonte, who was trying to buy a property in the 1950s, an apartment here in Manhattan. Mm-hmm. And they were trying to keep him out because obviously he was black.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And I was like, damn, 70 years later, I was facing the same thing in Malibu. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it was really, really devastating. But, God, grace,
that's right.
grit, some tears, some anger. Yeah. Some lawsuits, because sometimes you got to take it to your lawyers. You know what I mean?
So with insurance, they were I'm sure they just didn't want to say, oh, we'll cover it. You had to fight for that.
Everybody's in trouble. You know? I mean, look, there was so much damage, so many people who didn't have, who lost everything that I don't know that it's possible, to recover. And so sometimes you just got to, get a little mean with it.
Yeah. You're going to rebuild in Malibu?
I was gonna say,
I don't
where
know.
are you now?
I'm not sure.
Like what happens now?
I've only been there twice. Because it's very, very hard, to see it. So the first time I went, it was like all in rubble.
Yeah.
And then I went back a couple of weeks ago, and it's like all cleared out now. So you can see the land.
See the land, right.
And it's a tough thing because I look at it and I'm like, man, but if I leave, like, when do I come back?
Yeah.
Like, when do I get another opportunity? It was so hard to buy it. So it's just like.
When you say so hard to buy, they don't let black people buy land in Malibu?
Yeah, just meaning that it was as an argument. I had to put a trust inside of a trust so that nobody could find me.
Damn.
And nobody would know that a single black woman was buying a property on the beachfront of Malibu. You know what I mean?
So did you actually go see the house, or you couldn't go see the house because they would see a black woman coming to buy the house?
No, I went to see the house like sort of undercover, pretending like I was just sightseeing.
Gotcha.
And then sent my real estate agent, who's a wonderful little Jewish woman, love her to death, and sent her to go do it. And my business managers, put my trust inside a trust, and I have somebody who signs stuff for me so I never have to show up.
Yeah.
And that's how I got it.
Do
done.
people really care, like when they're selling a
They
property, because
really
they're making
care.
money, right?
I don't
Who cares?
understand.
You're black, green, yellow.
Yep.
Look, I wish I could answer that question, but they really do care. It's
Jesus.
wild. Because even after we had closed, the former owner tried to put a clause after the contract was done saying that he could have access to my beach
Really?
through my house.
No way.
It's like, you
wow.
gotta be kidding me.
He's just gonna be walking
like,
through
right.
That's
I was like,
crazy.
wait, you want a
Can you
key
hear
too?
me?
Yo, what's up, Boz? I'm going to the beach.
Like you renting a guest house.
The audacity. You know what I mean? I was
Wow.
like, I own this house now. You no longer own it. And if you come as trespassing, we'll call the cops on you.
Right.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
How's your family been?
Really good.
Good.
Yeah. It's like my daughter, who's 16, really loved the house, and it's a hard thing to go through. Grief upon grief is a hard thing.
For sure.
So, but we're managing.
Okay.
Thank you.
You also, since we last seen you, got engaged.
Yes,
ma'am.
And that's crazy because I was in your
Congratulations.
business. Yo, it's like
let me
I
tell you,
knew.
this is why I want to see Loren today, because last time I was here, we were talking about me and my man, and then I think you said like, are you guys like, is he gonna propose? Like, what's gonna happen?
Because it was, I think it was your birthday trip.
Yes.
And when you posted, I was like, they are so happy. They are so in love.
Yes.
Like, I love this for her.
Remember,
because-
I told you to go call him. You ain't called
I
him.
never called him.
You ain't called
Oh,
him.
no, actually I did. And then the
You
proposal
feel it?
happened. So,
So wait a minute.
No.
You know her fiance?
No.
And you didn't call her fiance to see if he had any friends for you at the time when you was looking? Because she was looking. She was looking hard.
Don't say looking hard. I was like, and
You know
God do
what?
whatever he need to do. And I'm in a
Yes,
great
God
place
do
now.
it.
God is good.
Amen.
Ain't he?
Look,
But back
we're
to
gonna
you.
catch a spirit. Start running around. Yeah.
But yeah, so last time you was here, we talked about it. And you were like, I do want to, family is my thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a surprise proposal happened.
Yes.
And I read the People exclusive. It said you were actually surprised, which
Yes.
I find it hard for you to be surprised.
It's very difficult to surprise me. I mean, because like, look, first of all, I feel like I'm psychic.
Yeah.
Next, I'm like, I see people's movements, and I'm like, Why you say that? Why'd you do that? Now, the thing that tipped me off a little bit, I knew something was happening, was that he's a traveler. You know, we both love to travel a lot, and we exchange voice notes and video messages constantly, all day long. And we had gone to London for my sister's wedding. And afterwards, I had to return home to continue filming The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And he said he was going to stay in Europe and just travel around a little bit. And so he's like in Rome. He's sending me videos of his tour. He's in Paris. He's like doing all these things. And then he's like, oh, you know, I think I'm going to stop by Mumbai. And I was like, India? You know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, I've never been. I think I'm going to go. So I was like, oh, okay. You know, so he goes. He was there for a week. And I was getting like, you know, messages, but they were always from his room. And or like he would be outside and, you know, so I was like, why would he be in India? Now, the thing is, these 2 rings that I wear constantly, I got both of them in India on different trips, right? And they were kind of like my own, like, you know, I love myself type ring. Because I hadn't purchased expensive jewelry for myself before. Yeah. And this band I actually bought from Priyanka Chopra's jeweler when I went to her wedding. And so I love India for its jewels, for its gems, all that stuff. And so that's when I was like, is he in India to get me some, like, a ring? So that was the only thing that kind of my spidey senses were going, but I wasn't sure. And you don't want to ask all the way. So when he proposed, I was surprised because I wasn't expecting it. And then when he said he'd been in India for my ring, I was like,
put 2 and 2 together. That's
see?
what it was for.
My spidey senses weren't wrong.
I was going to tell you, the fact that Bozoma man was like, I'm traveling. I'm going to Rome today, India tomorrow,
Right.
Paris.
Like, that's not a flex. Like,
You know, I'm just going to stop in
Paris,
Johannesburg to say what's up to the homies.
Yeah.
I have lunch. I'm going to get some
we
crepes.
living. We're enjoying life.
I ain't mad at you.
know?
I'm really
It's
happy for you though.
fun.
I mean, you
Thank
mentioned earlier, like, you know, even with your daughter and you dealing with grief on grief. It's like, you know, your ex-husband and then your house, and it's like kind of like watching a fairy tale play out. So like, I'm happy to see that for you. I don't know what it's been like, because sometimes too, I think when people go through such hard hits back to back, they shut down. They don't want to open up to stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I don't know what that's been like for you as well.
But that's the thing, is that I don't know that you can get a wound and then, you know, want to repeat that same pain. You try to avoid it at all costs, you know? And so I think for me, part of it has been, for sure, like trying to understand how to heal my grief, but also having some courage. Yeah. You know, and being like, you know what? Like, it hurt before, but I'm going to do it again. Yeah. And it won't hurt this time. You know, and that's the only way to actually move forward, is that you have to tell yourself that. Otherwise, you will be in a cave. And I'm not even like judging anybody who's like lost a partner or like to death or any other way, and they feel trapped, you know, and feel like I can't get out of my own way. I don't even blame them for that, because I certainly understand. But yeah, I love love, and I love happiness, and I love joy, and it is an active thing that I'm doing every day to choose it.
Did he ask your daughter first, or did you?
He did.
Oh, he did. I was gonna say, because
did.
when he asked me, like, hold on, let me talk to my daughter
Yes,
first.
right.
I come back like,
Yes. Well, contrary to popular belief, I am a traditional woman in that way, that he flew to my father and asked him for my hand.
It's the only way to do it.
He asked my mother, and he asked my daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, before asking me.
I love it.
I'm like, check in with all my people.
Did you check in first?
Just check
Did
in with the
everybody say
people.
cool?
Yeah,
Okay,
everybody say
yeah.
you all right, then you're all right.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
What
it.
now? Do we have any other little Bozomas that we should that we need to be looking, looking for down the line?
No, not now. But we are interested.
Okay.
And so I have been on a fertility journey for the last 6 or 7 months. It's been really tough. Yeah. You know, because I'm 48. I'm almost 49.
Damn, you look good.
And it's good. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Baby body snatched.
Everybody, look, and I mean, I don't know if you've ever experienced it, but it's like going through the hormonal journey. Yeah. You know, taking the medication, taking the injections, like getting the checkups, getting the eggs extracted. It is such a difficult process on your body. I mean, it's like not just the gaining weight and the bloating, but it's like the emotional roller coaster. And I'm trying to do a million things.
I know.
You know what I mean?
So much going on on top of all your other businesses that you have.
Yes. And so it's like this, and it is a dream because unfortunately, when I was pregnant, I've been pregnant twice. And the first time I was pregnant, I developed preeclampsia early. Okay. And unfortunately, my daughter didn't survive her birth. I also had preeclampsia with Lael's pregnancy. Okay. And it was just traumatic. Both experiences were terrible. Yeah. And thank God that Lael survived, and she's such a wonderful person, and she gives me hope for the future. Absolutely. But I have to say that for the last 15 years, I was like, oh, I'm not going back there. I'm not going to try that again. I understand. And it wasn't until I met Keely, and he doesn't have any kids, that he was like, should we try? And I was like, ooh, I don't know. That's I don't know if I can do it. Yeah. And he was like, well, maybe we need to get a second and third and fourth opinion. And we found this amazing doctor, this Black woman who deals in fertility. And she was like, yeah, we can do it. We should try. I was like, okay, this is the last shot because girl is about to close up shop up here. So let's go, let's do it. Let's try and see what happens.
For people that don't know, how did you meet Keely? How did y'all meet?
So this is a crazy story. How much time do we have?
We got a little bit of time.
We got a little time. Let me let it breathe. So, as I said, I choose love, but it's been difficult because I also don't want to bring any just random old people into my life, especially with my daughter. And I was in a relationship that I thought was going to be, it was like finally after like 12 years, like, oh my gosh, this is going to be it. And unfortunately ended terribly. He stepped out. There was a lot of betrayal, a lot of broken heart going on. And I was in the middle of trying to gather the pieces of my heart and also try to figure out what I was going to do next with my career. Because I had retired from corporate life, published my book, and then I was like in this down period. So it was like I had a broken heart and I couldn't figure out what to do with my career. And I decided I want to start my own business, in hair and beauty. And so I just poured my whole self into it. And I knew that I wanted to call the business Eve after my first daughter, and also after the fact that, of course, Eve in the Bible and Eve in science is the first woman, and she's from Africa. So come on, you know what I mean? So I was like, okay, that's going to be the one. And as a marketer, I'm always looking for inspiration, in visuals and stories. And I did a lot of research about Eve, and I was looking for pictures of a Black Eve. Couldn't find none. They were all pale and redheaded.
Only the rapper
Girl,
Eve.
Let me tell you.
Rough Riders. Oh, my God.
Rough Riders was the only other one. The only one. And I found, through the work, I found this artist, Harmonia Rosales, who's a Black Cuban woman. She's come to fame because she has taken like the old masters' work, like Da Vinci and Michelangelo, and recreated them using Black orishas from West Africa. So basically it's like, there's a famous painting called The Birth of Venus, and she redid it and she put a Black Oshun in the place of Venus because that's where they got it from. It's like all of those Greek and Roman gods and goddesses came from the orishas. And so I found her work because she has a new project coming. And I was like, oh my God, gotta go see it. So I flew to Atlanta where she was having an exhibition at Spelman and made friends. And I was like, yo, I want to be a collector of your work. Like I was so in love with it. And I'll cut right to the end. A few months later, I went to her home for a private showing, and Miss Tina's up in there. Everybody's at LeBron. Everybody's in there, trying to collect her work. And her husband pulls me aside and he's like, hey, Harma's been working on this piece. She thinks it's yours. By the way, her wait list is like 2 years long. So I was like, oh, shoot, let me. So she takes me to the back to the studio. She unveils it. And it's a painting of Eve in the center of the painting. And I just broke down into tears because I was like, yo, this has got to be a sign. And so we're talking. We become much more friendly. Her husband says, hey, look, like, this kind of inappropriate, but, what's up with your love life? Like, you're such a dope woman, like this and that. And I was like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to go there. And he was like, look, like, I know somebody who's interested in you because they saw a picture of you from the showing that we did in Atlanta. And I was like, oh, who's that? And he's like, oh, it's my uncle. I was like, now, do I look like I date uncles?
Don't look like 80? How old your uncle? 70?
Okay, because this man grown.
Be having
and so I was like, oh, this is giving uncle here?
Right.
And it was funny because I was sitting with my friend Aisha Hines, who's an actress, and she was like, girl, you probably want to see the uncle first. I was like, I don't want to see no uncle. But then we went to his Instagram. Oh, shit.
That's right.
Said,
And I was like, oh, see, because we black. And the thing is, in our families, sometimes uncles are like 2 years older. You know what I'm saying?
That is funny.
So uncle was the right age and looked good. And it was Keely. And so he introduced us, and the rest is history.
How was the first date?
The first date
where
was
did y'all go?
great. Oh my gosh, the first date. He lives in San Diego and I live in Los Angeles. So
what country
drove.
did y'all go to for the first date?
Well, girl, let me tell you, because the first and second date were fantastic, and then he asked me out on the third date, and I was like, I'm gonna be in Ghana for December and Christmas. I'm like gone for like a month, and he was like, all right, then I'll come to Ghana.
Girl, yeah.
And the man, and he flew to Ghana, and we had our third date on New Year's Eve.
And I would have proposed right there.
You're right.
There we go.
I love
that.
Yes. So he's wonderful.
That's
He's
dope.
wonderful. Yes, but thank you. I'm very happy.
Well, you talked about the kind of talked about it. Your new
She's
show.
stuttering. She's thinking
Because
about
I'm
her home
just-
life.
I'm
She's
like, it's so
about her home life
good.
now. She's like, my man fly to Ghana for me.
I'm going to Ghana
that's
for my
what we need.
birthday.
There you go.
We are. We are.
There you
Good.
go.
I'm going to Ghana for my
Because
birthday.
if he wanted to, he would.
That's right.
All right.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and he do.
Yeah, okay.
Amen. Okay. Amen. Yeah.
So your new show On Brand with Jimmy Fallon on NBC.
Yes.
Because I know you were filming for that show while Keely was getting the whole surprise engagement together. So it all kind of ties into where you are now career-wise too.
Oh my gosh, it's such an amazing thing, I'm telling
Right?
you. Yeah. Because the thing is, over the course of my career, and it's weird because, of course, like you look at my resume and people are like, oh my God, this amazing resume. You worked at Pepsi and Apple and Netflix and Endeavor and Uber and like all these places. But when I tell you that the moves from place to place, people were not supportive. They'd be like, oh, why would you leave this job to go over here? Like when I joined Uber as a chief brand officer, I was the head of global marketing for Apple Music and launched it, right? People were like, why would you leave Apple and go to Uber? Because at the time it was failing and it was like, headed south. And I was like, look, this is where like my intuition is calling me. Like that's where I got to go. And I don't care what your opinions are.
Right.
I did that over and over and over again. And when I joined the Housewives, people were like, yo, you're going to destroy your reputation. Like, you're in the Hall of Fame. Like, why would you go
why would
be
you
on
deal with that
TV
pain?
and fight with women?
Right.
And I was like, no, but do I have to do that? Like, I don't feel like that's what I need to do. Like, why can't we showcase a different type of woman on this show? And it was in the first episode of The Housewives where they were, basically going over my career and my resume. And Jimmy's wife was watching the show.
Oh, wow.
And unbeknownst to me or anybody else, Jimmy had been trying to sell this show to NBC for 2 years. And it's a marketing reality competition show, kind of like Apprentice or Project Runway, etc. And when he was pitching, they told him that he needed somebody to legitimize the show. And so he met with a bunch of CMOs. Nobody was really clicking until his wife was like, yo, this woman, Bo's right here. She's on Housewives. And he was like, oh, I don't know if I was looking really for that kind of woman, that kind of person. But he watched the season. He was like, you're great. And so he called me.
That's crazy.
We had a meeting. And it just felt like the perfect culmination of everything. It's like I have 25 years of corporate experience in marketing. I know how to manage the brands. Like I know what a pitch looks like. And even in the episodes that we're filming, there was an example of Southwest, which was one of the clients on the show, where the assignment was to wrap a plane. And what's crazy is that 14 years ago, 12 years ago when I joined Beats and was running Beats Music, the way to get, a lot of people to hear it was to put it into airplanes, right? And no one would do it except for Southwest. And then in my marketing with them, I was like, you know what? In order for people to see it, I want to wrap the plane. And I put headphones on all the planes. And so we're standing there and they're giving the assignment to these contestants like, okay, you got to wrap a Southwest plane and talk about more legroom. And I was like, oh, I did that 12 years ago. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's been an incredible, it feels like divine alignment, that I've done the business, done the work. I'm on TV. I understand how to be fast and what it takes to be in front of the camera. And so this was just a perfect marriage of all those things.
I love it.
So All right, so I want to talk about the show because I do have some questions about the agency, but tying Real Housewives into the show, I know people were not surprised because y'all have talked about kind of mending, but when we saw Kyle post your billboard, oh my God, Boz, like she was really excited, really happy for you.
Yeah.
So in real life, like once you guys do things like the reunions and the show is over, and then because it seems like y'all are up and down.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with her in real life when these things happen? Because then she's posting the billboard.
Right.
Like, okay,
look,
so they cool again.
Let me tell you something. These feelings are all real. Okay? That's the one thing I didn't know going into the show was that if you are, not feeling somebody, you're not feeling them for real. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think the other thing that confuses people about these shows, and I didn't know that when I went in, is how much intense time you're spending with them. You know, it's like we filmed for 3.5 months. You're spending 8 hours a day, 6 days a week with these people. And it's not like you go in and you're like, oh, what's the weather like? No, you're like, what's happening with your divorce? Yep. You know what I mean? And you're talking deeply about these things. And so, of course, like your emotions get caught up in it and you get to know people so much better than you would in your regular life. I mean, at that time, it's like, look, I have 3 sisters and I was talking to them less than I was talking to these women every day. And so last year, Kyle and I had a tough time because I just felt like she should be more open and honest about her life. I was like, hey, look, we're all sharing. Like I'm going through a lot and I'm sharing. Why don't you share what's going on with you? And the thing is that like if we are meant to get to know each other or meant to be friends, like if you're going to keep it light with me, then I'm keeping it light with you. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like why am I going to tell you all my business and you don't want to tell me anything? And she felt a way about it because I said she was cold. And, but that was the truth. That was the experience I was having. But in this current time, we've crossed that bridge, and I think maybe to, give her some grace, it is that she also is going through a hard time and she wasn't necessarily open to being like, oh, here's a new girl. Let me just tell her everything. And not everybody's the same. Dorit was very open with like all of her drama. And so, we became closer. And I wasn't as close to Kyle, but we're in a much better place now. And so the joy that she feels about my success in this show with Fallon is real.
Now, on the show, you're basically like tag teaming with Fallon, but he's the boss of the agency and you are the chief marketing officer, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you explain how you got there, but how real are like the campaign? So I've only watched some of the first episode. Yeah. And I know they're really dealing with the brand. You guys are working with Dunkin' Donuts in the first episode. Yes. Are they really taking these strategies and actually applying them, or is it just for the show?
Yes. And that's the hard thing is that they're spending millions of dollars. So after I leave here today, I'm going over to Dunkin' Donuts because the episode that just aired was about, essentially recreating what a deal would be. Right? You walk into Dunkin' Donuts, you want a breakfast deal, what is it going to look like? And it is in the store right now, and Dunkin' spent millions of dollars on this campaign. And every single brand that comes does that. And so these are real briefs. They have real business issues that need to be solved. And so, it's like they're trusting us as much as we are putting faith into what these creatives can do.
Yo, it's so wild that you said that. Last night, at night when I have 6 kids, right? So at night when the kids are sleeping, I just have random thoughts, kind of like you do sometimes, right? And my random thought last night was like, look, if I was trying to get in the marketing industry, in the commercial industry, I was like, what I would do is I would shoot commercials for every brand I could possibly.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to use Instagram for.
Right, but like, and I would like, listen, because I'm watching the Yankee game. I would do a commercial on Yankees to get more people in the seats, and I would just post it. And I said I would do every brand. One brand's gonna hit me. One brand's gonna hit me. And I'm thinking to myself, why don't some of these kids that are getting out of college, why don't they do guerrilla marketing like that?
Right. It's money
like what you've done. What you've done was guerrilla marketing.
No, that's true. And you know what's so crazy about that is that regardless of the company I've worked for, I've always been pitched. When people know that I work there, right? Because I've been a public figure in the business world for some time. And so if they know, it's like, oh, I'm the chief marketing officer of Netflix. You know how many films and TV shows I've been pitched over the years? A lot. When I was at Apple, people were like, oh, I got a new idea for some technology. I got a new app that I want to pitch you. Or at Pepsi, people would be like, oh, I have a new drink flavor, nutmeg Pepsi. No, they're disgusting. Jesus. You know what I mean? Everybody has ideas. And so you're absolutely right. I don't know why people don't take it upon themselves to be like, you know what, let me try something. Let me put some creative out there. And this is what now the show is doing, is that these folks aren't they're not practice industry leaders. You know, there's a swim instructor in there, there's a real estate agent in there.
Because you can do everything with a phone. You have an iPhone.
Yeah.
You can edit on the computer. It's not like before where you needed a camera and you needed a red camera and had to. No, you can do everything on your phone. And like you said, if I'm looking for a business, I'm like, if I do 20 commercials, hopefully if they're good, one of those 20 people are going to reach out.
Call you.
You know?
Exactly. And I think that's the opportunity right now. And I'm actually hoping that that's what happens. It's like people see this, because the only challenge with like up and doing something is that if you don't know what the brief is, you don't know what the business's strategy is or what they're trying to accomplish, you're going to miss the mark, even if you have a great creative idea.
Right.
But in this case, it's like, we're actually telling you, this is what Dunkin' Donuts is trying to do. This is what Southwest is trying to do. This is what KitchenAid is trying to do. And so I'm like, every week, you should be like doing your own pitch and posting it and engaging and tagging everybody in it and being like, hey, KitchenAid, I got a better idea than these 10 people that are on the screen.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because now you heard the strategy. You might as well like try and hit it. So for me, it's like, this is a real opportunity for new people to get into the industry and into the idea of marketing.
Going back to what you said when you said you were at Netflix and people were trying to pitch films, or you were at, Pepsi, somebody had a different flavor they wanted to pitch you every single time. What was the process to that? Like, what was it, just no, or you got to email somebody or whatever?
Yeah, that's the hard part, is that before, it was almost impossible. You know, it was impossible for me to get into the building. You know what I mean? That like, I crawled through the window in order to get into those rooms. It wasn't like, anybody opened the front door for me.
Right.
And so it's like, sometimes I would see a great idea or hear a great idea, and I'd be like, all right, here, call me, or email me. Gotcha. Most of the time, the ideas weren't great because, they didn't know the strategy, and so it's impossible to then have the idea. But it's interesting. There have been a number of times where I remember at PepsiCo, there was a janitor who would often be like, hey, like, I have some ideas, and he eventually is the one who created Flaming Hot Cheetos.
I remember the guy. I think we spoke to him, or did I see a doc? I think I seen the doc.
You might have seen the doc.
I seen the doc.
He's great.
Oh, I love his story. I love his story.
It's like, so the ideas really can come from anywhere, but you kind of have to have some insight into what's happening on the business in order to make it happen. Now, the good thing about this current time is that most brands aren't keeping their strategy behind closed doors. If you go on their Instagram, you're probably going to figure out their strategy real quick. Like, you just see, who are they targeting? What is the message that they have? What's the tagline? I mean, it's almost easy. So to Envy's point, it's like, you should have the gumption, to try it. Like, that's the way greats are made. It's like, you try. And if you don't succeed, what they say, try and try again.
Do you think AI is hurting a lot of the jobs that require thinking, right? Because I can see somebody saying, yeah, Bose is good, but she's going to cost us too much money. Let me put this in the AI app and say, Dunkin' Donuts marketing, what would Bose do? Enter. And it's going to come up with something that they've seen you do before, and they base it off things. So do you think that hurts the industry? Because a lot of people, they live and die by AI. I mean, you got AI artists, you got so many things.
Right, I know. Here's the interesting thing about AI. First of all, I'm not afraid of AI. I've worked in tech for a decade, and all of the companies that were always pushing the limits. I mean, look, I was at the cusp when we started doing personalization and algorithms. So you know what I mean? It's like, it was scary for people. They're like, why do you know so much information about me? I'm like, because you'll be mad at me if I give you Metallica when you're looking for Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? But whatever. Now everybody's used to it, so it's okay. It's the same thing with AI. It's like, look, we use it constantly anyway. It's been used. Now it's like in the hands of consumers. And so it feels a little scary, or it feels like, oh my gosh, it's going to take this job or that job. But honestly, it's been in existence for some time. And on top of that, you got to remember that AI uses information that already exists. It doesn't create things that don't exist in the world. And so that's where I feel like humanity is at its best. Like, we are the dreamers, we're the imaginers, we're the ones who are thinking about what could be, the possibilities. AI doesn't have that option. And so it's pulling from data that already exists and then putting it together and then sort of guessing and estimating what could happen. There's this idea of like a hallucinating AI, right? Or ChatGPT, where it's like, it makes up something because there's no space, and it's usually not accurate. And now I'm not saying that AI is not going to get better. It certainly will. And perhaps at some point it's going to do a good job of predicting. But I still think that from a creative standpoint, there are nuances that are going to be hard to solve in tech that humans can't do.
Yeah, the only problem with AI, the biggest problem I have with AI is a lot of people don't fact check, right? They think AI is factual, right? That's A. And B, and I can't hate on this too much because I think I would do it too. When I'm in college and you have to write a paper, right?
Oh, Lord,
you had to research, right? You had to go to the library or you had to look it up. You had to Google. You had to find out what the information is, right?
Yes.
Think about it like this. You have your daughter here, right? She could just say, I have to write a paper on this, that, and the other. Enter. It's going to give you 10 pages.
Yes.
Now, as a smart student, all you got to do is go through the 10 pages and change words to make it sound like yourself. But pretty much it's done.
Yeah.
But how does that help you? It doesn't, because you're not necessarily knowing the subject. You're not learning. You're just printing and you're getting an A on a paper. Does that help you in the long run?
See, now here's where I have a controversial point of view. I actually do think it's good. Okay. Because it is like, and this is why I disagree when people say that they don't want to give their kids iPads or have them on the computer or this and that. Because I'm like, but then you are depriving them of understanding how to cope in a world that does that.
Facts.
You know, so the point is that AI, ChatGPT, all these programs are here to stay. And so I would prefer that my daughter understand how to utilize ChatGPT, AI, and all these other programs and get the right answer. Because you're only going to get the right answer if you put in the right questions. And so if she doesn't have that practice, in 10 years, she will be lost.
That's true.
Because everyone else out here would have perfected how to get the right answer out of AI, and she won't know.
I would have been slutting AI out when I was in college. What's crazy? Hampton University would have been the AI. I would have been using that all over the place.
Yes, but now that's a challenge for professors.
You're right.
Right? And teachers. It's like, okay, how are you going to modify the way that you teach so that you can make sure that your students are retaining information and knowing how to utilize these subjects? Because look, now I already told you, I'm 48 years old. When I got to college, we didn't have a computer lab. Okay, there was no such thing.
What broke ass college did you go?
No, look,
we went to college around the same time. Hampton had a computer lab.
There was no computer lab. I was there when the computer lab opened, and you had to sign up on the sheet. You know what I mean? To go in.
Everybody don't get their own computer.
No,
we have our own computer.
So we were in the library out here.
Started.
No, look, it didn't exist. It did not exist. And so you had to go to the library. We had the encyclopedias. You had to find to L. You know what I'm saying?
I was there with you. Look, had to go to encyclopedia.
It was terrible.
But even on that, from that standpoint, right, you don't think it's important for kids to know that part of it too?
Have a foundation.
No.
Because like, what if,
now she sound old.
No, real shit. No, you got to think about it though. Because
my kids don't know nothing about no damn encyclopedia.
All technology, we know with one, it's glitches. It can shut down. It can be taken away. I know it's here to stay, but like, say if it's a glitch or something don't go right.
And stuff can go wrong too.
Then stuff definitely can go wrong. We would need to be able to know how to go and search for stuff in books or whatever, you know.
But I believe in humanity. I'm like, if something happened and all technology failed, I think we would find our way back. You know? However, I do believe that tech is here to stay. So my example with like going to the library and looking through the encyclopedia is that once Google was at our fingertips and search engines were at our fingertips, when was the last time you looked in an encyclopedia? You know, you need to understand how to search for the right thing and get the right answer and discern what is truth from fiction. Now, that's the skill you need today. You don't need to understand how to like find llamas in the encyclopedia. You know, I need to know that a llama does not look like an alpaca, you know, when I search for it on Google. And if I see a picture of the two, I can discern which one is which. And that is the trick that we need to instill in our children and in educators and everybody else, is that like we've got to teach the new skills. We can't just depend on what happened 15 years ago.
You know, you can take a picture of an animal right now, put it in ChatGPT and say, what is this? And it'll tell exactly what it is. That's crazy.
Matter of fact, I'm like, great. Fantastic. Tell me. And also, what is this bump on my toe? Tell me what that is.
Then that's where it gets dangerous, right?
You see what I mean?
Because now you got a bump on your toe. You think it's cancer.
And you should take your ass to the doctor. You know what I'm saying? If ChatGPT is just like, this looks abnormal.
You think you got cancer for a weekend.
Go to the doctor.
And you died yesterday.
Exactly. And you didn't go, then that's your fault. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
There's a woman on the show, speaking of age and different like just eras of knowing. No, because look, there's a woman on the show, and one of the things that stuck out for me with her was she says, I can't believe I'm here and I'm doing this at 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are marketing agencies hiring younger because they expect you to know all the stuff y'all just talked about?
Course.
Is that so?
Yes,
people are getting aged out of hiring.
for
at this
sure.
point.
For sure. Because the thing is that marketing and a lot of creative industries are young people's game. You know, because I think the challenge with being older and more mature is that you've lived life. And so you censor yourself, you know, you'll be like, oh, this idea is not good because I tried it 12 years ago and it didn't work. Or like, oh, I saw this other person do it. You know, you ever met like a 17-year-old with an idea?
Yeah.
Look, they out here,
now.
they think it's
Now,
the best thing to ever happen. And it probably is, you know, because they have gumption and they have imagination and they are fearless because they haven't seen it fail. But us, you'll be like, oh, try and do this new thing. I'm like, that's not going to work because XYZ thing.
Right.
And it's not going to work because we already tried it. Meanwhile, the 17-year-old is like, I'm going to try it. I don't know any different.
Yeah.
And so, I think the creative fields and for sure marketing and advertising is geared towards younger people. But you do need the maturity of time to be able to have discipline. You know, and be like, okay, look, here's a business problem. We got to focus on that. And so that's why I feel like it kind of balances itself out because you need more mature people who have time on the books to be able to drive the business. And you need young people who are fearless to come up with the ideas.
That's right.
Were you at all nervous? I know you guys talk about marketing and numbers and stuff on your show, but were you at all nervous when all of the Kimmel stuff was happening?
Oh, yeah.
Just because I know you guys bring some of those talk show hosts onto your show.
Yeah.
And you're like, dang, I just got this job.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I think we should all be worried about everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, for sure. When it's like Colbert got fired and then Kimmel got suspended, I'm like looking at Fallon like, hey.
They don't say no story now.
You know what I mean? What you doing? What you talking about?
Right.
And the thing that I respect about him so much is that he definitely wasn't trying to censor himself. He's like, hey, this is what I do. This is all I know. I've got to keep going. And I respect that because for me, it's like, look, I've been in plenty of rooms where it would be easier not to be black. It'd be easier not to bring my perspective that is so unique to everybody else's in the room, but you do it anyway, even though you know somebody's going to be like, you said the wrong thing and you should be fired. You know how many threats I've had around that? And that had nothing to do with the president, you know? And so I feel like at this moment in time, there is so much to be concerned about. And I wish that more people were anxious about that and saying like, well, how do we make sure that we protect all of these like areas that we've created so that we can actually continue to be creative, to be funny, to be a little outlandish, you know, without having to censor.
I feel you. I got one last Housewives question. I was taking a left turn, but I just thought about this. Garcelle unfollowing you guys after she left the show. Oh gosh, yeah. So she really did unfollow y'all. Yeah. That wasn't like a fan theory.
No.
Why?
You know, that's a really hard question. I wish I knew. I really do. Like, this not even like me being politically correct. Like, I wish I knew. When I went on Watch What Happens Live with Andy, right after she decided to resign. And, you know, he asked me how I felt about it. And I was like, man, I wish she didn't because I would like to actually work out whatever the challenges were that she was having on the show or with me personally, right? And you just don't have that option. And so it's a lot like having a breakup where you don't get access to the person anymore. And you kind of have to have closure on your own. And a lot of times people are like, oh, they're not over the thing because they didn't get their closure. But I'm like, you could close that door yourself too. Yeah. And so if that's what she needed to do, then good for her. I mean, I still follow her. I'm still interested in what she's doing. I'm still cheering, but you know,
have you
I'm
attempted to
sure.
try and reach out to her and talk to her?
Yeah. I did.
Nothing.
No. She responded, but it wasn't like, oh, let's go grab
Why'd you
lunch.
unfollow me?
You know what I mean? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I was just like, hey, look, like I wish you the very best, you know, and I want you to succeed, and I wish this would have worked out. And she said, thank you, Boz, and that, you know, that's it. So it's amicable.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Now you're engaged.
Yes.
How much do you think y'all gonna spend on the wedding?
Oh God,
a lot of money, a lot, because I want 2 weddings. Well, we want 2 weddings. One in Los Angeles.
You said it right first.
I know, girl. You know.
That slipped up like a boat. I want 2 weddings. I mean,
Why are you calling me out?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
like, damn it, man.
Right. Yes. Well, we want one. We both want one in LA.
Gotcha.
I really want one in Ghana.
Okay.
So we're gonna do both. And it's gonna cost a lot of money.
Yep.
I mean, look.
Jesus, who pays for that?
Well, we we both do.
Damn.
Yeah.
Look, this man
Jordan
said,
just got
look, you got the
engaged.
wedding. I flew to Ghana for the third date.
Yes.
You got the wedding this time
And
in
went
Ghana.
to go get the ring.
Right.
Yeah.
Went to go get the ring in Mumbai. I mean, he knows who he's marrying.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's no
That's right.
surprises.
That's
There's no
right.
surprises. So like, we're going to do it big.
Yeah.
I want everybody there.
Jesus Christ.
Envy's
Yes.
daughter just got engaged and he about to have to
Oh,
Yes.
that's the thing. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
she just
yeah.
got
You're going to have to
engaged.
pay for
They got
it.
engaged in Greece,
Yeah.
in Mykonos.
gonna
Oh,
need a
my
hug.
God.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you're going to have to pay for that.
You see, he doesn't look excited because he's already counting his pockets right now.
It's a lot of money.
And his daughter and her fiance want to get married at the same castle that the Casey's was married
I
at.
got married 24 years
Exactly.
ago. So the price was.
I'm like, there's inflation.
So when I got the new
Okay,
price, I was like,
exactly.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, it's a lot of money.
And they
It's
was
a
like,
lot
yeah, that's
of
just
money.
for the venue. I still got to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
everything.
flowers.
They
Yeah.
done renovated and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly. We
so
need
it's-
100 racks. You know what I'm saying?
To the 100 racks.
That's
I wish
That's
it was
the
just 100
start.
racks.
That's the starting price.
of just the
You know what I'm
venue.
saying? Yeah, of just getting the
I
things,
called
the
the video the other day.
basics.
They was like, we give you 10% off. I like 10%. What the fuck is 10%?
Yeah, what's
off?
10% gonna do? Damn.
Oh my goodness.
But
All
yeah,
right.
no, I don't mind spending. You know, I just
Yeah.
feel like these moments are so special.
And
You
you
know,
work
and
so hard.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, and been through so much.
Yeah, for
I'm like,
sure.
I want to celebrate. I want everybody to be there. I want to have a great time,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna spend the money to do it.
Yeah.
So yes.
Well, Boz, if
Be
you
fabulous.
need extra workers on the weekend, I can help. I need extra money.
Same.
If you have a dog, I
Want me
can
to-
clean up the dog
You know
poop.
what?
Or, you know,
I
You
love
want me to
that.
do
Cut the
comedy at the
grass.
wedding? I'm gonna do the comedy at the
Girl,
wedding.
okay,
you know, he can do the
look,
DJ.
exactly.
You know, make some
I'm with
money.
it.
You know,
You know,
Yeah,
Lauren,
we
You
just-
need to call
she could be
anybody.
there.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was
gonna
gonna
say,
say,
I can
oh,
call
she
her.
gonna
I
reach
can
out
do the
to
job.
her.
I can, you know
Little
what I'm
extra
saying?
job.
You know,
Yes.
a
No.
host. You might need a host at the reception.
I know.
Jess could do the
Period.
comedy.
I'm gonna do
Yes.
the
I
comedy.
can
You can
MC.
do-
Like,
there we go.
you know.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. You
Yeah.
know, black people, we
We
need to
gonna
work
send invoices,
together.
too.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? We need to work.
Okay.
Wait, the invoices.
I just told you we got work.
We working.
We got some
We trying
bills
to
in them.
get. Shoot, I
So
said,
this ain't no favors. You know what? I love that. I love that because I do believe in paying for your friends'
There you go.
businesses. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Support your friends.
I got
I'm
LLC you
with
can
you.
support.
I
All
charge,
right, Lauren.
I charge 100,000 an hour there.
For the castle.
That's right. Bozoma, we appreciate you for joining us.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
that
It's
was
Bozoma
always a
St. John.
pleasure.
Make sure you check out
Thank
On
you.
Brand with Jimmy Fallon. It's out right now on
Yes.
NBC.
Yay.
And thank you so much. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Thank you. Y'all, I love you so much.
Hold up. Every day I wake up, wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?